from WCIA3 Plus with your hosts Rob Good, Katie Biquette, and Dean Geiken. You're watching Geekspeak Central.
Hello and welcome once again to Geekspeak Central. I am your host Rob Good, as always, and we have what I think is a really cool episode today. We're going to talk about TV shows and podcasts that we like. If you're watching us because, we talk about gaming so much, I think this is a source of inspiration. It's where we get ideas from. It's where we get all kinds of cool things on I'm going to tell this story. Sometimes we steal directly from that. and players don't know. And I'm talking about role-playing games, but in that when we're telling stories, but it's also just inspiration for other creative stuff. So let's, with me today is Dean and Katie, as usual. And we're going to start by talking about TV shows for the first part of the show. I will start out by saying I have a couple of shows that just made me pretty happy to watch. This weekend, I binged the entire 6 episodes of Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Good for you.
Which Dean has been on me to do for a while.
You finally did your homework.
Yep. And I will say, I did very much enjoy it. I really liked Game of Thrones. I've read all the books that are out. I'm one of those people that I will argue that the last season wasn't as bad as everyone thinks.
No.
I think it was just rushed.
Yeah.
But I don't think the actual ending, I think it all made sense.
Well, when you say Game of Thrones, you mean the original Game of Thrones.
The original
Right.
last season.
Yeah, the seven
everybody's
episodes,
like,
seventh season.
Right.
But
Tale
I
of
really
Ice and
liked,
Fire.
I did really like Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
And so
Right.
it's a Game of Thrones story, right?
Yes,
Yes.
It's not really a prequel as far as most
It's
things.
set in a quieter, politically
Yeah.
quieter era, so
Yeah,
you can
it
have more.
takes place before the main original series.
Right.
Oh.
And it's not as graphic. It's got its own graphic things, but it's not, and it's definitely violent, and,
Yeah.
but it's not nearly as graphic as the original series, and blatant nudity and things like that.
Right.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Is the costuming still good?
The costuming is still very
phenomenal.
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I haven't seen it
like
because
some of the armor that they have
sure.
is so cool.
Yeah.
Like the dragon armor on the one Targaryen guy is really cool.
My boyfriend and I have a joke about Night of Seven Kingdoms and why I haven't delved into it yet. Like, if you've seen Shorzy, which is a
Oh, I know who you're
spin-off
talking about.
of
I've
like
not watched it.
Yeah,
but
of
it's a spin-off
Letterkenny.
of Letterkenny.
My boyfriend's like, why haven't you watched this yet? I'm like, I can't afford to fall in love right now. I have a boyfriend. And so he started watching Night of Seven Kingdoms, and he's like, I don't know if you can watch that because you can't afford to fall in love right now. So what I understand is that this is a Game of Thrones property, and that there's a very appealing central character that's a headman.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
correct?
Duncan the Tall.
Dean, it's also on your list too.
Yes, that is on my list. I like it because it is it's basically a buddy companion
It
show.
is, yeah.
It's between Aegon, the little 10-year-old Targaryen.
Aegon.
Yeah.
Aegon, and then
They call him Egg.
Yes, and then Sir Duncan
He's
the
like
Tall.
a kid. He's a kid.
Duncan,
And he's his
Duncan,
squire.
Duncan.
The actor who
Okay.
portrays him is fantastic, just so fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of good performances in that.
Right.
The other show I was going to mention was I was so happy with the Scrubs return.
Scrubs reboot?
The Scrubs return.
Ooh.
Because Scrubs was one of my
Haven't
all-time
seen
favorite
a single
shows.
episode of any of that.
That's fine. It's
pretty wacky.
I'm just saying, for me, I was like, it's one of those times when you're like, okay, they're going to bring it back, and are they going to do it right? And they totally did.
Yay.
So that made me happy. It's only had a couple episodes out of the new, and it's been 15 years since the previous one.
Wow.
So they basically are like, yeah, there's been a time gap, and here's what's going on.
Yep.
And so far, the first 2 episodes I really enjoyed.
Good deal.
So that's my couple. You said did you have anything else on your list?
In addition to the Night of Seven Kingdoms, which is in reality 9 kingdoms that we find out at the end.
Not too many spoilers.
Yeah, not too many spoilers. But one that is the 3rd season came out, and I just finished it. It's called Primal. It's by Gendy Tartakovsky, who did Samurai
the
Jack.
animated
Yes,
show.
he did Samurai Jack
Yeah.
back in the early 2000s, and this is basically a almost nearly dialogue-free cartoon between
I've
a
always heard good
caveman.
things about it, but I've not ever watched it. It's
Between
on my list on Netflix and things.
Yes, it's basically a caveman and a dinosaur living together in a very harsh
Yeah.
primeval world, and the friendship they develop is outstanding. But because there's no dialogue, the animation and the artwork conveys such emotion and such storytelling that it is like you know exactly what these two people are saying without them having said a
That's the
single
kind of
word.
thing that shows off how animation is art.
Nice.
Right.
Like it's like there's a lot of that out there if you go looking for it. If you love animation,
But I warn you, this even though it's an animated show, I would not say that this is necessarily suitable for children because this can be very shocking at times in terms of what goes on.
and I would say in today's world and of media, people should understand that at this point because there's so many things that are like, this is not, it's animation, but
kids.
it's not for kids.
Right.
Can I ask what kind of dinosaur we're talking about?
It's
Is it
a
huge quadruped?
It is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, who is female, and I won't spoil anything because good things and bad things happen.
Got it.
Okay.
Are her arms on the front?
Yes.
I'm so excited for when we make the switch to being correct. Give the T-Rex feathers, put their wings where they belong.
This is a very well done show, and I highly recommend that anybody who enjoys Samurai Jack, you're going to enjoy this one. It's on Adult Swim on HBO.
Nice.
Yeah.
Adult Swim's on HBO these days.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things on that. On there.
Nice. Very cool.
So, Katie, how about you? What are other shows that you're watching right now?
You can call me a fake nerd if you want to, but I'm watching Frieren dubbed. Frieren is an anime, and it's about a wizard who happens to be one of the last surviving elves, and she's taking a new team, or like a part of a new team of adventurers, and they're going to go kill a few more demon majesties than they did last time, and they're plotting their path through like towns that have a statue of one of Frieren's old companions, like the champion. And so they like clean up his statues, and then they learn the, like, I consider them kids, she does too, who are now on her adventuring party, like learn more about her as they hear stories about, she's one of the greatest mages in the kingdom. And it's just really interesting to see the classic D&D adventuring party from like her perspective as practically an immortal who's been building up this powerful magic for centuries.
Yeah.
And then also, I forgot the other thing. You were going to say something, Rob. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say I don't believe that there's anything. I don't think there is no such thing. There is no such thing as a fake nerd.
Thanks.
Like if you want to listen, if you want to watch some anime dubbed,
watching
go
it
for
dubbed,
it.
I'm sorry.
I watch subtitles on Night of the Seven Kingdoms because you want to hear what they're saying. I was going to say that, I think it's very interesting. One of the interesting things about anime is how much these days anime has influenced us, American, Western, whatever kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But also we have influenced them. It's this weird kind of fascinating cycle.
It
I
is.
think.
And like there was the Lotus War back in the
remember that
1970s.
one.
Yeah, it was the original
That's
people
one I
who
actually
were
watched
like
in high school.
yeah, they were like, let's take
in the
our
90s.
D&D game and put it in a magazine at first,
Yeah.
and then they wanted to adapt it to make it animated, and Dungeons and Dragons classically is like, absolutely not.
Yeah, and
so,
but the stealing back and forth.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to what I said at the very beginning, where it's
Sure.
like, if you're playing a D&D game and you want to steal something from Lotus War,
Yeah.
I can't. I remember a friend of mine ran a D&D campaign based on Yu-Gi-Oh, like the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. We were all playing that at the time, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
but it worked.
The adventuring traditions of like Japanese like D&D also has some like kind of different traditions to Western
Yeah.
media, which I really, really enjoy, and so it's fun to see it represented.
And and you
cartoons,
can't deny that there's been times when there's been that influence has been bad because but also really good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the influence is not understood.
Yeah, well, in
And
the
that
Japanese,
leads to things. But
in the Japanese adventuring culture, it's just like adventurers always working together. If you find somebody's remains, you want to return them, and it's just like there's a lot more like honor bound and collective like philosophy things that they have from their development of like Dungeons and Dragons media that's kind of separate from what we have. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, it's interesting when we see those two things going back and forth.
I do have a second TV show,
Sure,
but do we
go
need
ahead.
a break? Are we good? Are we fine?
Yeah, we're fine.
Ah, sweet. Bridgerton's back, baby. I'm a female nerd, which means I am into some Jane Austen stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
I love me some Bridgerton, even though it is, not the costumingest accuracy, but it is fun to see.
But it has great costumes.
I did not read the books, but I like seeing how we're going to express different types of like social issues they had in like Jane Austen times, and then I'm also like in like a Jane Austen movie club with my mom and sister. We just watch a different movie every month and then chat about it. And so
My wife and daughter
that
love
line.
Bridgerton. They just, I don't know if they want to call it a guilty pleasure, but they just love it.
I will admit I've never watched any of it.
I
but
watched the first
but
2 seasons of
But
it.
I cannot.
Good.
I mean,
then I
those
dropped out.
the costumes are great, whether they're accurate or not.
It's great to see the costumes. It's great to see the wigs. It's
And
great to see
I
the
will say,
sets.
even as a costumer, there are certain things when you're trying to do a period piece.
Yeah.
There are certain things you can't do that are because they're historically accurate.
Yeah.
Sometimes
look a little silly.
you have to fudge things a little bit because modern audiences will be like, "Oh, that looks so weird." It's like, well, that's what they wore.
I
Deal
want
with
to
it.
point out one thing that I've only got two seasons worth of experience with Bridgerton, but I think so much of the drama and everything that happens in there could be solved if people would just talk to one another.
Yeah.
That's what I always thought about the Wheel of Time books.
Exactly.
If these lifelong best friends would actually like have a conversation, the books
Right.
would be, not 15 1,000 page books.
What if we just said how we feel?
Yeah. Okay. With that, we will go ahead and take our break, and we'll be back, and we're going to talk about podcasts and such when we come back. And we're back with Geekspeak Central. I'm Rob. Once again, I am here with Katie and Dean, and we are talking about, we just got done talking about TV shows that we've been watching recently, and now we're going to get into podcasts a little bit. Now, I love podcasts. I have a lot of podcasts that I listen to. I will start with, I'm wearing a t-shirt right now of the Glass Cannon podcast. I chose to wear this t-shirt because I knew what we were going to talk about. The Glass Cannon podcast is an actual play podcast. So it's basically nerds listening to nerds playing role-playing games. One of the reasons I like the Glass Cannon is because they started out with Pathfinder, which was obviously a game that I've played a lot, but they branched out to a lot of other games where they played Call of Cthulhu. Their current campaign is a game called Shadow Dark, which is
Good game. Really good game.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the old style Dungeons and Dragons, where it's very quick and deadly and not a lot of lighter rules than most. So that because they like to do, they're heavy into the RP role playing, and they've gone around to do other things. They also have done like the Marvel Multiverse role playing game for Marvel, like at San Diego Comic-Con.
Nice.
Because they're friends with the people at Marvel.
Cool.
Like one of the guys that plays with them periodically is his name is Nick Lowe, and he is the editor of all the Spider-Man comics.
Nice.
Like
What-
that's his day job.
What's going on in Glass Cannon right now? Like,
Honestly, I'm way behind.
Because they're playing a game he's not familiar with.
Well, yeah, they're playing a game I'm not familiar with, but they have so much content, and I just can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
That's the thing about podcasts that
Exactly.
are problematic.
That is one of the reasons I am not a big podcast listener.
I used to have a
much.
job where I could sit and listen to podcasts all day, but now I don't.
now we're here.
So there's that. Another one that I wanted to mention that I thought is a fun thing to listen to is one called Time Suck.
Ooh.
It's basically this guy who he's a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
And what he does is he basically picks like a weird topic, like maybe it's a myth, an urban legend, scary ghost story, lizard people that secretly rule the world kind of stuff.
Sure.
And he does research on it, like, so, you know, the time suck.
Right.
He goes in there and does that, and then comes back and talks about it for his episode. So it's like,
Nice.
so you don't have to spend hours and hours researching
really
this crazy
interesting.
stuff. He just tells you all about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's really interesting. And that's another one that has lots and lots of episodes that I can't keep up with.
Right.
So I wish I had more time to listen to podcasts, actually.
That's tough.
I've got one that I listen to. I don't listen to it religiously, but I sort through their topics, and it's called Clown World TV. It's on YouTube, but they
Okay.
also have an audio version on Spotify, and it focuses on pop culture, video games,
Sure.
television, the business of geek, basically.
Yeah.
And they've got some inside information because they used to work for Disney. They used to work for a lot of comic book publishers and stuff like that. So they know how the business works. And they have a pretty good finger on the pulse of the industry. And so they can tell when something's going belly up or if something's going to be successful. And it's a lot of fun. But they are, they do it with a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of sarcasm and maybe some acerbic commentary on what is going on in the business.
And that's one thing that I think is really interesting about podcasts is the fact that you can learn so much from them, and you can find some very, very niche
Right.
kind of topics.
I mean, they may talk about something that I don't have any interest in whatsoever, so I'll pass that by, but then they'll have something about Star Trek or something about, you know, Xbox or something like that. So I can kind of pick and choose, and I don't fall into that. There's so much stuff I got to keep up
Well,
with.
you know, the weird stories like I was talking about with that one with Time Suck was like, I mean, those are the kind of things that you then turn around and turn into adventures that you, or if you're writing a writer, you might turn into a story
for sure.
or a script or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever your creative endeavor that you know, and it's like, oh, I want to learn about the Roman Empire. You can probably find a podcast about somebody who's a historian, who's an expert in the Roman Empire, and like learn about all kinds of detailed stuff.
Right, and similar to Clown World, there's another one I watch. It's also on YouTube, but you can find it in audio too. It's called Dungeons and Discourse.
I know
it's
that. I know
hosted
of that
by
one.
Discourse. I believe that is her name, or not her. That's her stage name. Her description is an outspoken critic of the tabletop industry, and it can be found making extremely crass jokes that make you squirm on her tabletop news-focused YouTube channel. She is a avid role player, a miniatures role player, and a failed lawyer.
Okay.
I gotta check.
And
that
her
one
stuff
out.
is really fun to watch, but it is, again, you can pick and choose what you want.
Yeah. And I think one thing you said there where you mentioned that it's on YouTube and you can watch it on YouTube. That is another thing that like you can watch Glass Cannon on YouTube. They have all of their shows, you know, there for watching. And then they have some that are audio only.
Yeah.
But but it's an interesting thing that podcasts, everybody thinks of them as audio, but you can literally just go to YouTube and watch all these episodes.
Many
as
of
if,
the video ones are also available on audio, like on Spotify. And things like that.
there's it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And one last one, the History Nerd in Me, I cannot pass it up. The History Extra program from the BBC History Magazine. And it is so cool. They'll have things like, you know, the life of the week could be Jane Austen. And it's 30 to 35 minutes of just history on that subject.
Yeah. There's like I said, there's so many different little
that's a Spotify
subjects that you can find.
Yeah.
Katie, what kind of podcasts are you listening to?
Oh golly, I also have the issue where I kind of like watch some of it. I kind of like listen to it. So I was a huge Critical Role fan back in the day, watching those voice actors play.
That's another one that has a
5E.
lot of
It
content.
does. I am not caught up. I was also into Hello from the Magic Tavern for a while, which is a Chicago-based venture and is about interviewing people in a magical tavern, which I love the concept of and want to steal for like my, you know, Magic Missile persona, talking to people about their role-playing games. But I just love kind of some, I don't know, regular podcasts these days, like Normal Gossip, which is where people send in gossip about their community and like
Oh my gosh.
it's a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, and then somebody, the person who is running the podcast, like has a guest on and describes the gossip to them, and it's just great. And then Good Hang by Amy Poehler, which just won an Emmy, I believe.
Amy, that one just won like the
Yeah.
first ever Emmy.
Sorry, I missed
for-
that. What was the name of it?
Good Hang.
Amy
Yeah.
Poehler.
She just has people on from Parks and Rec and
from
everything
Parks and Rec,
from SNL. Yeah.
I love her so much.
She just had Jonathan Groff on, and he's effusive and amazing.
Yeah, and they just talk about like she just talks to all these people about all kinds of things.
And she cares about them and asks them follow-up questions, and it's awesome.
And she just this year won the first ever Emmy for a podcast.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like they added a podcast category, and she was the first winner.
It's very neat.
And so I have not listened to that one yet, but I immediately added it to my list of podcasts. The list of podcasts I have on my phone is kind of ridiculous that I'm never going to listen to half of them. But I do love how much podcasts have sort of
peripheral.
Almost
variety.
a little bit of information overload.
Almost.
Yeah. It's like it's hard to pick and choose because there's so many good ones out there. Some of them been good.
And the good ones sometimes get lost in the mix of all of them. There are some fantastic ones out there, but you can't find them because there's so much.
Yeah, and it is sort of that double-edged sword where it's like you get lost, but it's also a good thing where it's like maybe you don't like Glass Cannon, maybe you like Critical Role, maybe you like there's so many actual play things.
Yeah.
I have other friends who are big-time gamers, role for like Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, and they're like, "You mean I'm just going to listen to some guys playing D&D? How boring is that?" And don't even want to touch any of them.
I think that Dropout, which is the like television kind of like app that College Humor has now moved to, is actually doing a really good job of that with their live plays. And now they have Dropout 24/7, where that channel is just playing 24/7. And so I caught a couple of like games as they've been going through them and reminded myself of some good ones. So
and you can get sucked into these things so much where
it's great.
where you just like I wish I had more time to listen to all this stuff, but I also know that if I started listening to it, I'd be like, where did the last 12 hours go?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've got too many other things going on in my life to listen to podcasts.
I got too much stuff. And like listening to things like these podcasts, it's like I need to listen to them. I can't. It's not like when I have some random stuff on TV and I'm doing 5 other things at the same time. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our second break, and we will be back to wrap up the show right after this.
Cool.
Hello, and welcome back to Geekspeak Central. It's time for us to wrap up the show, and as we always do, we're going to talk about kind of the geek things that we've been kind of doing lately. Obviously, we've just been talking about shows and podcasts, and I mentioned I was watching a couple of shows. I will go ahead and start with because my thing is kind of related to that. This week, I finally got my family to switch our internet service to fiber optic, which means we got rid of our other internet and the cable that goes with it. So we signed up for YouTube TV.
Wow.
Oh.
And I have been learning to use YouTube TV the last week.
Nice.
Right, a little less than a week is when we got it.
I have fiber optic too, but I haven't gotten the YouTube TV. Is there a reason why?
Well, so here's the thing. We had a really expensive Mediacom bill, and I basically discovered, like, in my hometown of Mansfield, the other option for internet was fiber optic, which is supposed to be faster and better quality internet. And I have friends who have that, and they're like, it's the best internet service we've ever had. And so I was like, well, the problem is the company that does fiber optic does not do cable. The one we had, it was all one. We had cable and internet together.
So it was a necessity.
By necessity, we're like, because if you want those regular channels and be able to watch live TV, you need something like YouTube TV. There's a Hulu version, and all of that. The other thing is, it was immensely less expensive.
That is why I switched
more than half of our bill went away.
Yeah. I saved nearly $100.
I do, my older family members are not as tech savvy. So that was why we kind of waited for a while. So I have to teach her how to do that. But before we run out of time, I want to talk about our guess what you were into.
That's us.
Let's go to Dean.
All right.
Because you have some pictures.
I got some pictures. So I was invited to be a guest at a Arrow of Light ceremony for a local Boy Scout troop, and so they wanted to have me come as a Revolutionary War soldier and talk to the scouts a bit. And so I was set up there with some of my accoutrement and stuff like that.
There you go.
Yep, and in my 2nd Virginia regimental uniform with all my goodies. And then we had a celebration of the Whiskey Rebellion, 1794, at a distillery, and so I got to fill a barrel of whiskey, which will become Heartland whiskey in a few times. So we were having a good time with some of my family and friends there at the distillery. It was a lot of fun. Food, music, all the good stuff.
All right. So those are some really great images you got there. But we're about to run out of time, so we want to get to Katie before we run out of time.
You know me, I'm playing board games. We're working for Kudo Plays, getting all those games laid out, professional pictures taken of them, so we can have our next steps workshop for people to turn in their board games and see if they want to get it published, all the different ways to do that. And also, our grand exhibition is going to be happening on March 23rd at the IMC. The IMC is your Urbana Independent Media Center, and you should check it out. They have a lot of good workshops there. I made a magic wand there just last week. Check it out.
All right. So we got Revolutionary War, we got wand making,
community,
we got
board
me
games,
trying to figure out how to use a TV streaming service.
Nerd stuff.
Yeah, great nerd stuff. All right. And with that, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching Geekspeak.
Bye.
Ooh, there we go.